Okay, so today in our inference lesson, we're going to be focusing again on this type of question, which is the ticket question. So this type of question always gives you multiple options to decide between, but you should always make sure you check how many options the question wants you to tick. So if it says tick one, how many are you going to tick? Just one. Fantastic. Now, if you tick a box and then you read the answers again and you decide, actually, I don't think I want to give this answer, what could you do to show the marker that you've changed your mind? Because are you going to tick another box so then two of them are ticked? No, you can't do that, can you? Because then that would be ticking two rather than one. What you could do is if you tick one and you don't mean to, you can put a cross so then it makes a cross rather than a tick and then tick the correct one. And that shows your marker, your reader, that you didn't mean to tick that one and you've actually crossed it to make sure that you don't want them to count that as your mark. Now we're going to look at some ticket questions today all around inference. Now, the first one is asking me to look at page 108, and I'm going to bear that in mind when I'm answering this question because that's going to help me retrieve the answer and infer what the question is asking me. Now, it says, with quivering fingers, she unwound its legs from the branch. Now, this sentence is in a different style of writing to any of the other words. Do you know what that means? Do you remember? It means it's a quote that's directly taken from the page 108. So when we are thinking about the answer, we can actually go to 108 and find that exact quote. That is called italics. So when some writing is in italics, it means that it's, in this circumstance, it's going to be a direct quote from the book. Now, my main question is, why were Lila's fingers quivering? Now, we have learned what this word quivering means before. Do you remember what the word quivering means? That's right. If you are quivering, your fingers might be quivering. They are shaking. Now, nothing here says that anything about shaking. So this is where we need to start to make inferences, an educated guess. We need to be detectives and find out, well, why were Lila's fingers quivering? Now, what we're going to do first is highlight the key words. And I'm going to pick out all those words that we do need and then ignore those words that are just added words used to fluff out the answer. So what I've done, I have read through my question and I have found the number 108 is significant. It's important. It's my page number, so I need to highlight that. But also, the quote, along with the word quivering, is also important. And also, one, making sure we only tick one and not two or three or even all four of them. And once we've read that, we can start to consider our answers. Before we even look at the page 108, I'm thinking to myself, what could the answers possibly be? Thinking of the word quivering, meaning trembling, shaking, those fingers shaking. We're going to read through the answers together, and I want you to be thinking, ooh, could it mean that or could it mean that? Why could it not mean that? So, why were Lila's fingers quivering? Were they quivering because she was nervous, because she was in pain, because she was hungry, or because she was cold? Now, if quivering means that we are shaking, could we shake when we're nervous? Yes. Might we shake when we're in pain? Maybe. Would we shake when we're hungry? I don't think we would, so we can rule out that one, but we can consider nervous and in pain as a potential answer. Do we shake when we're cold? Yes, we do shake. If we're a bit cold, we're a bit chilly, we get goosebumps, we start to shake. So before I even gone into the text, I've narrowed down those answers into 3 answers. So that's going to help me a bit more. Once I've done that, I can now find the exact quote in the text, and you can see that I've highlighted it. I've gone to page 108 and I've highlighted, with quivering fingers, she unwound its legs from the branch. Now, what should I do now that I've found the text, the quote in the text? That's right, I should read all around the text. So I'm going to start reading around it and thinking, she sat on a branch where the animal was perched. So this is where the sloth was in the branch. She began to scoot forward, both hands gripping tight. So she was on this branch, so she's trying to move forward across the branch. Now, what do branches look like, I'm thinking? Well, a branch from a tree could be quite long, could be quite thin, could be quite dangerous in case it snapped. So I'm now imagining Lila scooting along this branch, trying to find this sloth and get it. And then with quivering fingers, she unwound its legs from the branch. Now, thinking about this now, was she cold? No, she wasn't cold. She was on the branch. So she wasn't cold. Nowhere in the text mentioned she was shivering, or she was cold, or she had limited clothing. Was she in pain? Was anything telling me there that she'd got hurt? No, nothing's told me she's got hurt so far. Was she nervous? What's telling me that she's nervous? Both hands gripping tight tells me that she's nervous. She's trying to get along this branch. She's gripping really tight so she doesn't fall off, but she also feels quite nervous and she doesn't want to scare the sloth. So what we have done there, Year 4, we've narrowed down the answers and we've actually used our knowledge to think, well, she can't be in pain. Nowhere tells me she's in pain. She can't be cold. Nowhere tells me she's cold, and she's definitely not hungry. And so she must be nervous. Now it's your turn to have a go at looking at page 109, and I've included it in here, and answer the following question, please. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, how did you do? Did you manage to find the key words in the question? And I managed to find them too. Did you also manage to find the actual quote? So, it tells me to look at page 109, cradling the sloth against her chest. This is in the italics, therefore it's a quote that I'm going to see in the text. Why was Lila cradling the sloth? Was she cradling the sloth because she was bored? She was sending the sloth to sleep? She wanted to protect it, and she was pretending it was Max. Now, you might have started to rule out some of the answers, but let's have a read first of all. So, it says here, let's make it play, said Max. He grabbed at Lila's arm. No, Lila seized his wrist, cradling the sloth against her chest. Don't, you'll hurt it. Now, when I read this, don't, you'll hurt it. If you don't want to hurt something, you often want to keep that something safe. You want to protect it. So that's actually one of my answers, so I might keep that in mind. And I'm going to start reading through my answers now and deciding what ones I can eliminate, take away, and what ones I might want to keep and have a look at in more detail. So was Lila cradling the sloth because she was bored? Well, nothing tells me here that she's bored. Was she sending the sloth to sleep? Well, she could have been, but let's see if there's any answers that match better. Was she wanting to protect the sloth? Well, the fact that she said, don't, you'll hurt it, makes me feel like she wanted to protect the sloth. Or was she pretending it was Max? I don't think anything in the text tells me that. So it was between sending the sloth to sleep and wanting to protect the sloth. Now, because of the words, don't, you'll hurt it, that made me think she wanted to protect the sloth. Okay, so here is your task for today. You have got some questions today, and it asks you to look for a page. It gives you a quote to find in the book and then asks you a question in it. So you need to think about the most suitable answer. For a plenary today, I want you to use what you have inferred from today's lesson, so what you have taken away and learnt from the storyline from the pages we've read today. Make a prediction, and what do you think will happen next in the story? We know so far that the monkeys were rubbing ants in their hands. What do you think that was for? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, Year 4, fantastic listening today. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in our next lesson. Goodbye.